Okay, so Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Ham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramanandam Abham Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Umagyanatimiranta Siddhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishe शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you so much everyone for joining the weekend sessions and enthusiastically participating. So we will continue our Kevalashtakam seminar series. So we've been talking about the fourth verse last week, and before that third, before that second, before that first. So we've been discussing on that. So like every week, we will sing the Kevalashtakam first, and then we'll go with the fifth verse today. So are you all excited or tired?
Excited, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Very much excited, Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Haribol.
So your excitement actually fills excitement for me. So I'm feeling a little drowsy, and it was raining, and I was dozing off when I was listening to Raghunath Puridas Prabhu, but somehow I gathered some consciousness, and I'm trying to share. So your excitement will be very helpful for me. Madhuram madhurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi mangalam Pavanam pavanebhyopi Harirnameva kevalam Harirnameva kevalam Abrahmastambha paryantam Sarvamayamaya Jagata Satyam Satyam Punah Satyam Harirnameva kevalam Harirnameva kevalam Saguru sapita chapi samata bandhavopi saha shikshaye chet sada smartum Hare nameva kevalam Hare nameva kevalam Nishvase nahi vishvasaha kada rudho bhavishati kirtaniya mato balyat Hare nameva kevalam Hare nameva kevalam Hari sadavase tatra yatra bhagavata janaha gayanti bhakti bhavena Hare nameva kevalam Hare nameva kevalam Aho dukham mahadukham Dukha dukhataram yataha Kachartham vismritam ratna Hare nameva kevalam Hare nameva kevalam Diyatam karno Niyatam vachaha Giyatam nityam Hare nameva kevalam Hare केवलम् त्रीणिकृत्य जगत् सर्वम् राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Shri Kevalashtakam ki jai. So today we will see at the 5th verse. I'll just share the screen so that you all can read that. And we'll read the translation. Hari sada vase tatra yatra bhagavata janaha gayanti bhakti bhavena hare namaiva kevalam. Hari sada vase tatra. So Lord Hari eternally dwells in that place, yatra bhagavata janaha, where truly exalted, spiritually advanced souls, gayanti bhakti bhavena, sing in the mood of pure devotion. What they sing? Hare Namaiva Kevalam. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. So, in the spiritual path, Krishna is not only our destination, but he is actually our companion also, right? So, it is not that we are going to meet Krishna at the end of our life or when we go back home, back to Godhead. Actually, he is always with us. So, suppose that you are traveling from, let us say, India to America to meet someone very special, and you've been waiting to meet that person, but you have not met that person earlier, so you don't know how he looks. So you are excited and you are just thinking about, oh, I'm going to meet that person, I'm going to meet that person, I'm going to meet that person, and you are just traveling. And you reached America and you reached your destination. You went to that home where the person resides. You went there, you knocked the door, and the person opened the door, and you just realized that the person whom you are going to meet is the same person who being right next to you throughout your travel. But just because you don't know how he looks, you actually couldn't spend any time with him. So similarly, Krishna is always with us. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. So he's always seated in our heart. So we will meet Krishna when we go back to spiritual world. But in this world also, Krishna is always staying with us. He is close. He is so much close that, even the closest person that we have in our life, he can come and embrace us. And he might find a closest place in us. But actually, Krishna is closer than the closest person because he's seated inside the heart. The person can come and hug us, but still he's actually external. But Krishna is very much internal. So he's always seated in our heart. And in the, Krishna is seated in our heart, Krishna is close to us, but we are far from him. So how this can happen? Krishna is close to us, but we are far from him because we have turned away from him. So Krishna bahirmukha jiva bhoga vancha kare. So we have turned away from Krishna and we just got absorbed in material consciousness, doing material things, doing sense gratification. That is why Krishna is still there. We have turned away from Krishna, but Krishna did not turn away from us. He's still there looking at us. So what we have to do? We have to turn ourselves again towards Krishna. Then we can start experiencing Krishna again. So Krishna is always there in our heart. He says, Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto. He doesn't specify that I am seated in only some people's heart, not in all hearts, right? He always says Sarvasya chaham, right? So he's always there. No matter what we do, He is not going to leave our heart. He's not going to turn away from us. We might turn away from him. We might start offending him. We might start, doing things which are not, making Krishna please, but still he will not stop loving us. It is being said that a jiva doesn't have enough power to commit any sin or do any offense which can make Krishna stop loving us. A jiva cannot do like that. There will be no time where Krishna can say that, now I am fed up with this jiva. Now I'm going to leave his heart. I have given enough chances. I'm going to leave his heart now. So Krishna will never say like that. So no matter what we do, Krishna will be there. But what is the problem if we are not turning towards Krishna? We actually become more and more miserable, right? And this actually displeases Krishna. So Krishna is waiting for us, okay? And he want all of us to turn towards him. So if Krishna is like, Krishna is always looking at us, but we are not looking at him. So why this is happening and how we can actually start turning towards him? So actually one thing we should always remember that we may be we may be unqualified in bhakti, in achieving Krishna, but we are never disqualified. So this is the principle which can actually make us always motivated in bhakti. So what is the difference between unqualified and disqualified? So unqualified means we may not be having the eligibility to participate, right? We may not have enough skills, enough talent, enough background to participate in that. But disqualified means no matter what you have, what you don't have, we actually don't allow to participate itself. So a jiva never loses his potency to become Krishna conscious. So never there will be a time where a jiva can decide that, now I am not eligible to do bhakti. Okay, at every moment we are eligible to do bhakti. We may not have all the eligibility to advance in bhakti. We need the mercy of the Lord, but we are never disqualified. The Lord never says that I have given you enough chances, so many lifetimes you have spent, now you cannot become Krishna conscious. So this situation will never come. Krishna will always be there, and every moment can be a moment of Krishna consciousness. We might have committed so many offenses, we might have done so many sins, but still we can pursue Krishna. We can walk on the path of bhakti. So this thing we should always remember. So when we fall down, when our mind starts mocking us, it starts beating us, then we have to remember this. Krishna is still there and we can practice bhakti. So going back to the point that if Krishna is always with us, why don't we perceive Krishna? So to perceive Krishna, we have to tune our consciousness to become Krishna consciousness. Just like now, the radio frequencies are all around us. But unless you tune into that frequency, then only you can listen what is happening on that radio. Right? We generally have this radio frequency, different channels we have. So 98.3, 92.7, like this, all these frequencies are there. So unless you actually tune into that frequency, you cannot listen to the song or the talk that is going on that frequency. So similarly, if we want to perceive Krishna, we want to tune our consciousness to Krishna so that we can actually perceive Krishna. Otherwise, what will happen? Krishna is always, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. So Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is seated in our heart, but still we cannot perceive him. So why we are not able to tune into him? Now there is lot of noise is going on. There is a lot of advertisement is going on based on sense gratification. So what happens? Our mind is material, and anything that is being broadcasted material, our mind will get attracted. And what will happen? We actually lose focus on the most important thing that we are supposed to do, and we get engaged into so many activities which are not going to help us. So today we are absorbed in so many material activities that it becomes very, very difficult to tune into Krishna. So if you see, there are many people, if we are, if someone is attached to something, what goes around him, it becomes actually insignificant. So let us take an example to understand this. So let us say, we'll take two examples, okay? Now, many of the times you might have experience that, we might travel from our office to our home, right? But many of the times we don't look at right and left. So all the shops, all the locations that come between our home to office, we may not remember. And sometimes when we share our home location to some of our relatives or friends and they are trying to come to our home, and if they are lost, they call us and they tell that, I'm actually standing at this shop. There is board like this, there is thing like this and all. And we actually sometimes start thinking, is it really there? And we also are not sure whether that thing exists over there, because we've been traveling on that path, but we were ignorant about all those location and post. Why? Because our focus was not that. So similarly, if you talk about another example, if we take, if someone is very much addicted or attached to cricket, then what will happen? You shout 100 times that, you come for the dinner. Are you going to do this? Are you not going to do this? So mother may be asking, the father may be asking, others may be asking so many questions. But this boy, if he's attached to the cricket, then he's so much absorbed that whatever is happening around him, it doesn't matter to him. So what is the point which we are trying to drive here is that Krishna's presence can be perceived only when we can tune to that, only when we can focus on to that. So there was a devotee who was actually went to a jewelry shop, and he wanted to purchase some jewelry for the deities. And the outside of that jewelry shop, there was a TV, and there were people, and in that TV the match was going on. And if someone has to enter into that shop, then he has to go through this people. And these people are so much absorbed in that match that they don't want to miss even one moment of action, so they were not giving the path. And by seeing that, actually, this devotee got reminded about the gopis. And he said, maybe this is the reflection of the gopis' mood, because they all day wait to have a glance of Krishna. Krishna goes to the pasturing grounds, and when the evening he comes up, then they want to behold Krishna's form in their eyes. And they don't want any kind of disturbance. Even in the Gopi Gita, we see they say that, this Brahma is a foolish creator because he has created the eyelids, and because of that we have to blink. And by blinking we are actually missing your vision. And if anything comes in between, even for one moment we are not able to see you, it feels like a yuga, right? A truti feels like a yuga. So a moment of separation from you, a moment when we are not able to see you, it feels like a separation of yugas. So similarly, those who are attached to that particular match, they were actually feeling like that only. But we don't want even a moments of separation. So what is happening? People are struggling to go through that path. But these people who are watching match, they are fully absorbed and they don't care what is happening around. So similarly, when we are absorbed in material consciousness, what will happen? We cannot perceive Krishna. So Krishna might be standing beside us, he might be here, he is there in our heart, but still we cannot perceive him. So how we can perceive him? So we can perceive him only in the association of devotees. So Srila Sanatana Goswami says that, we have three pramanas, that is Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, and Shabda Praman. But the ultimate Praman is the Anubhav Praman. So unless we actually experience the reality, we cannot, we cannot accept the reality. The Shabda may say, the scriptures may say many things, but we did not realize that. So what is the difference between realized truth and the truth? So, Krishna is there in our heart. Okay, this is the Shabda Praman. So the scriptures say, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he stays in our heart. But unless we perceive Krishna's presence, we cannot actually accept that. We cannot realize this. So today we might be talking about many things, but that is still on an intellectual level. Okay, Shabda says, Acharya says, Vaishnava says, all of them are saying it. But how far I'm able to realize that? Okay, so there is a gap between information and realization. So Anubhav Praman means I have realized and I have accepted that truth. So the experience of Krishna, the perception of Krishna will happen in the association of devotees. So the Anubhav Praman we will get only when we are in the association of devotees. So how we can get it? Now, when we are chanting alone, that time also we can have little experience of Krishna, that kind of peacefulness, that kind of bliss we can experience. But when we are in the association of devotees, what will happen? We actually cumulatively invoke Krishna's presence. So Krishna and Krishna's name are non-different. But for us, because we are so much absorbed in the material consciousness, for us, there is a difference. Krishna and Krishna's names are different. When I say Krishna, Krishna doesn't manifest. The Krishna names have the potency so that Krishna can manifest completely. But Krishna is independent. So we cannot bind him. In the Shikshashtakam, when we talk about the text too, we said, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita. So all the potencies of Krishna actually installed into the holy name. So holy name is non-different from Krishna. So when we take the holy name, Krishna should manifest. But we cannot bind him with this principle. Krishna is still independent. The way we call out, based on that, he actually manifests. So what happens when we are in devotees association, when we are doing the Sankirtan, that time the cumulative devotion. Okay, I have little devotion, you have little devotion, and cumulatively we have lot of devotion. And through that, Krishna actually manifests. And those devotees who are like pure hearted and who are pure devotees, when they call out Krishna, then Krishna can manifest completely. So when Krishna manifests, what will happen? We actually experience lot of bliss. That spiritual happiness we actually experience. You might have experienced that, when you go to the temple, when you are participating in an arti, the devotees are singing, everyone is following. That time, sometimes tears may come out, right? Sometimes we feel a kind of calmness, like, a lot of storms are there due to our life's problems. But when we go to some class, or when we hear the arati, when we are participating in the sankirtan, or when we are participating in the kirtan and all, that time we actually experience certain bliss. So that is the experience of Krishna. So in the association of devotees, we actually see that there is non-difference. So that Krishna and Krishna's names are non-different. When we are calling out Krishna, we are experiencing Krishna. So this will actually happen in the association of devotees. Our devotion may be less, but when we are having the association of devotees, some others' devotion may be more. So because of that, we can actually invoke Krishna's presence more and more. And the more we invoke his presence with love and devotion, the more he will manifest. And that is why our association will increase our Krishna's experience. When we are chanting alone, our experience of Krishna will be very little. Sometimes it may not be there, right? Because our lips may be chanting, but we are not chanting heartfully. But when we are in the association devotees, there will be a difference. Now we can start experiencing Krishna in this way. Just like an infant, when he was born, that time he doesn't know that, who is his mother, who is his father, who is taking care of me, what is this, where I am, all these questions they don't know. But they know that someone is there who is taking care of me. When I'm hungry, I'm getting the food. I'm just, I'm given the breast milk, I'm given the things which are needed, I am being given proper facilities to sleep. So things, they know that, the infants know that they are coming, but they don't know who is providing. But as the infant grows, what will happen? He will start knowing that who is doing what. So just like when a baby is trembling in his sleep, let us say it is very cold, and that baby is trembling, the mother sees and she puts a blanket. So that time, when it is an infant, when the baby boy or baby girl is there, that time they do not have enough consciousness to understand who is doing this. But what they experience, I was trembling with cold, and someone has done something, or something has happened, and I started feeling comfortable. But as the baby grows, and if she is trembling in the sleep, then mother puts a blanket, then unconsciously in the half sleep also, she knows or he knows that, my mother has come and put the blanket. So similarly, today we are not very much spiritual or Krishna conscious. Because of that, when something good happens, when we feel something good, that time we don't know why it is happening. When Srila Prabhupada was chanting and doing kirtan in the San Francisco, or in the New York, or in the middle of all the, that park where he started the Sankirtan. So that time many people joined. They don't know the meaning of Hare Krishna mantra. They don't know that they are chanting Hare Krishna, which is the Lord's names, but they experienced some bliss. So they don't know what it is, but still they experienced it. So similarly, like the infants, they don't know who is doing what and what is the logic behind where I'm going from the suffering to comfort, right? So cold to warm. So they don't know. So similarly, we also don't know. But gradually, with the association of devotees, when we take part into the kirtan, when we take part where the pure devotees are there, that is why, sadhu sangha is very important. So those times, what will happen? Gradually, our eyes will open. and we will start experiencing Krishna. When something good happens, we know that it is Krishna. When some spiritual experience is coming, we know that it is Krishna. And gradually, what will happen? We will see Krishna's presence everywhere and in everything. So, when pure devotees chant, the transformation will happen. We see this in the case of Haridas Thakur also. When a prostitute came to allure him, to make him fall down, but because of his chanting, what happened? Because of his association, that prostitute got transformed. And she started chanting Hare Krishna. She gave up her prostitution profession. She gave away all the money and she started, and she became a great devotee. And similarly, when we talk about another example of Srila Prabhupada, when he was chanting, with the association of Srila Prabhupada, the transformation has happened. So, in the association, we can experience Krishna, and because of that, the heart transformation will happen. There is another verse in the Shastras which says that, where Krishna says to Narada that Naham tishtami vaikunthe yoginam hridayeshuva tatra tishtami Narada yatra gayanti madbhaktaha. So I am not there in Vaikuntha, I am not there in the hearts of the yogis, but I am there where my devotees are glorifying me, they are chanting my names. So does it mean that Krishna is not there in Vaikuntha? Does it mean that Krishna is not there in the yogi's heart? No, what it means that we cannot actually perceive Krishna in Vaikuntha. We are in this Kuntha, that is material world, and we cannot perceive the Krishna who is there in Vaikuntha. And we cannot perceive the Krishna who is there in the heart of the yogis. But we can perceive Krishna where the devotees are chanting and glorifying Krishna. So we have seen the example of the infant, and we have seen the example of Haridas Thakur chanting and Srila Prabhupada chanting to hippies. So what is happening? So Krishna's presence, as of now, we can perceive in the association of devotees. And the more we are devoted, the more we are invoking Krishna's presence, Krishna will manifest accordingly. So it is, sometimes we feel that all these great devotees, they chant continuously, Hare Nameva Kevalam, they have accepted that, and they say that, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Whenever they say to someone, even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was traveling to the Jharkhand forest, he was slapping the tiger and different animals and saying that, you chant Hare Krishna. Okay. So we generally don't chant Hare Krishna continuously, and we don't encourage other people also so much. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is encouraging the animals also to chant Hare Krishna. And all of the devotees who are in the temple, or whenever they associate with any other people, then they will actually encourage them, chant Hare Krishna. And we see that whenever they get time, they actually keep chanting on the beats. So are they chanting a different mantra? Because of that, they are getting taste? Or what is the difference? So actually, what we are chanting, what the Goswamis are chanting, what the other devotees are chanting, that is the same mantra. But the manifestation of Krishna while chanting is varying. Why? Because our consciousness, our invocation is not so sincere. Our invocation is not with so much of love and devotion that it can encourage Krishna, that it can attract Krishna to manifest. So, what will happen when we are in the association of devotees? When Krishna manifests because of cumulative invocation, that time we get some little experience, and that experience actually encourages us. So, when we do not get any taste, it is very difficult that we can go on chanting. But during the association of devotees, little taste will come to us, and our heart actually registers that. And because of that, what will happen? Our motivation and our encouragement to chant more will happen. So the association through classes, association through Sankirtan, association through the book distribution, whatever activities we are doing, what we are trying to do, we are trying to perceive Krishna. And when we are perceiving Krishna, our appreciation for whatever we have, the holy name, the books, and chanting and everything, that will increase. And the more we have association, with the more we appreciate, the more we can experience Krishna. And like that, what will happen? One day we will realize that Krishna is not only there in the Vaikuntha, Krishna is not there in the hearts of yogis, but he's actually there whenever we start chanting. All right. So when devotees chant, that becomes a holy dham. It is not only a location. Sometimes we see that people go to the dham, but still they don't experience the dham. Okay. So you are going to the spiritual place, but you are not becoming spiritual. Why? Because there also your consciousness is material. But if you have spiritual consciousness, if you have Krishna consciousness, then you can make that same place where you are standing as a holy dham. So the devotees, the acharyas say that going to the dham is not to just see, but to have the sadhu sangha, to listen from them. So similarly, if we are able to listen, if you are able to associate with the devotees, if you are able to participate in kirtan and class and all, then what we are doing, we are actually invoking Krishna's presence and we are experiencing Krishna over there. Though it may not be the holy dham, but wherever the devotees chant, that will become the holy dham. So we have begun by talking about how Krishna is not only our destination, but he is also our companion. And we used an example like you are traveling in a flight, you are going from India to America to meet a person, but that same person is sitting right next to you throughout the journey. So similarly, Krishna is always with us. Sarvasya chaham Vishnu, and Krishna will never leave our heart. He's always with us. So if he's always with us, why we are not experiencing? Because we are absorbed into so many different things. Krishna Bahirmukha Jiva Bhoga Vancha Kare. So we have turned away from Krishna, and the immediate result of turning away from Krishna is that we get engaged into sense gratification. Just like when you switch off the light, you need not switch on darkness. Darkness automatically comes. So similarly, when we turn away from Krishna, we get engaged into so many things, and that is why we get out of sync of that tuning. So if we want to perceive Krishna, what we have to do, just like a radio frequency we have to tune into, we have to tune into Krishna consciousness. And how we can do that? By listening, by reading, by chanting. So every effort that we are doing is we are trying to tune into Krishna consciousness, and because of that we can perceive Krishna. So we have seen the examples like, if someone is attached to cricket, then whatever is happening around him, then he cannot remember because he's so much absorbed. So similarly, Krishna is everywhere. But why we are not perceiving him? Because we are absorbed in something else. And we have seen the example that how in the devotees association, we can actually get that experience of Krishna through that spiritual bliss that we experience, that the peace and calmness that we get, the safety and fearlessness that we have. So when we are not devotees, we are afraid of everything. But now we might be afraid of few things, but we still at the corner of our heart, we have a faith that, Krishna is there. He is Suhridam Sarva Bhutana, and he is Bhoktaram Sarva, he's the Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the supreme proprietor. He's the friend of all living beings. So he might have better plans for me. Whatever suffering I'm going through, whatever fears I have, actually I need not have so much of fear. Krishna is there, and Krishna is there to protect me. So that fearlessness is coming, that calmness, that coolness, and everything is coming because we are able to perceive Krishna. And the more we are associate with devotees with that cumulative invocation, we can make Krishna manifest in our life, and like that we can perceive Krishna now also. So before we go back home, back to Godhead, we can still experience Krishna here. So it is not that Krishna only there at the end point. It is not only the destination, but is always there with us. So we have to associate with more and more devotees, and we have to experience more and more about Krishna. Then only we will get more encouragement and more motivation to chant and to continue in our Krishna consciousness. So just like an infant doesn't know initially that his mother is taking care, similarly today, whatever experience is coming, good experience is coming, it is because of Krishna. Okay. But gradually, when we grow in Krishna consciousness, then we try to award all our credit to Krishna. Now we might see that, all the good thing is happening because of me, because we don't perceive Krishna. But as we grow in Krishna consciousness, we will award all our good experience to Krishna. And like that, we can experience more and more Krishna. So, like that, we have to move in Krishna consciousness. Now, I will recite the verse again. So, I want all of you to meditate on whatever things have been spoken. And then later, after a few minutes, we can have questions and answers. हरि सदा वसे तत्र यत्र भागवता जनाः गायन्ति भक्ति भावेन हरे नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम्. so much. Hare Krishna.